All right, buckle in. We're about to take a deep dive into Valencia, Spain, a city that somehow manages to balance futuristic architecture, medieval vibes, endless sunshine, and paella so good it'll make you text your ex just to say, "I'm sorry for everything." This isn't the glossy tourist brochure version of Valencia. This is the version where you actually feel the pulse of the city, in the cafes that still smell like yesterday's roasted beans, in the bars that blur the line between record shop and house party, and in the tucked-away hotels that make you feel like you've accidentally stumbled into a designer's fever dream. Picture yourself stepping off the plane into air that already feels warmer, softer, like a half-whispered invitation to slow down. The sky has that particular Spanish clarity that makes even concrete look cinematic. As you wander into the city, every corner carries its own soundtrack. The clinking of glasses on a terrace, a busker's guitar sliding into flamenco chords, the faint roar of scooters threading through medieval streets too narrow for their own good. There's the smell of oranges, sharp and sweet, drifting through plazas shaded by trees that seem to bloom just to flex. And then, woven into all of it, the faint, briny tang of the sea, reminding you that yes, this is a port city, and yes, the seafood is going to slap. Valencia is one of those cities that feels like it shouldn't exist in the way it does. Founded by the Romans in 138 BC, leveled by floods, reinvented more times than Madonna, and now crowned both World Design Capital and European Green Capital in the past few years. The city has the swagger of somewhere that doesn't need to beg for attention. It just exists in full Technicolor. But it's not loud in the way Madrid can be, or as frenetically cosmopolitan as Barcelona. Valencia's rhythm is slower, like a song with a heavy bass line that keeps you grounded even when the melody spins upward. The streets unfold like a mood board of centuries. Gothic towers standing stubbornly against streaks of modernist glass, while futuristic white curves from the City of Arts and Sciences shimmer like alien artifacts dropped in a medieval painting. Markets burst open with pyramids of tomatoes and peppers so red they look fake. The air carries a blend of old stone dust, sizzling garlic, and that metallic edge of bikes whirring by on smooth pavement. And the people? They've got this easy confidence that comes from living in a city where the beach is 15 minutes away, the wine is cheap, and the sun practically has a permanent lease. Spend an afternoon here and you'll start to get it. Valencia doesn't push itself onto you. It seduces you slowly, with a glass of vermouth at noon, a shadowy Gothic arch at dusk, and a midnight rooftop view that makes you wonder how you'll ever leave. And quick PSA before we go further. If you find yourself vibing with this kind of travel storytelling, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and don't worry about frantically writing everything down. I've listed every single recommendation in the description, so you can just add the ones you like to your own itinerary later. Okay? Good. Let's get into it. Let's start with the streets themselves. Valencia's heart is walkable, bikeable, skateable. Basically, if you've got legs or wheels, you're good. Cars? Not so much. The city cracked down on central traffic, which means you're free to actually notice the facades of buildings instead of dodging honking hatchbacks. The sidewalks smell faintly of orange blossoms when the season hits, and because it's flat, cycling here feels like cheating. Valencia, the city's bike share, is dirt cheap, but if you want to live dangerously, just rent a beater and try not to wipe out in front of locals who are very much judging your form. But what really makes Valencia electric isn't just the urban planning flex. It's the neighborhoods. Take Ruzafa. This district isn't up and coming anymore, it's already here, buzzing like a beehive made of terrazzo tiles and iced cortados. Walking through Ruzafa feels like you've stumbled into a neighborhood-wide dinner party where half the guests are tattoo artists. The other half are plant store owners, and everyone has at least one side hustle involving ceramics. It's the kind of place where you duck into a shop like Nomo and walk out with a tote bag designed by some local genius who also DJs on Thursdays. Or maybe you end up at Cafe 55 Alternative Life, pretending you totally understand the irony of their motorcycle t-shirt collection while sipping a juice you can't pronounce. What I love about Ruzafa is the time warp it creates. On one hand, you can step into a bakery like DDL Boutique and smash a puff pastry filled with mascarpone and raspberries that feels very 21st century indulgent. Then, just around the corner, you might find yourself in a vintage shop like Laka, trying on a Puma shirt from the 70s that probably saw more disco balls than you ever will. And because Valencia is always just extra, you'll stumble into Kuit, a tiny studio/shop where the ceramics are so muted and minimal that they'll make everything in your kitchen back home look like clownware. Of course, you can't talk about Valencia without acknowledging the literal river of green that runs through it. Turia Garden. Imagine if Central Park were stretched into a skinny, 6-mile-long ribbon, and then stuffed with skate parks, cafes, futuristic science museums, and the occasional giraffe. Yes, giraffe. The Bioparc, at one end of the Turia, is this next-level zoo where instead of sad cages, you actually get habitats that look like movie sets. It's wild to see lions, zebras, and hippos framed by Valencian palm trees while joggers run by with their dogs. Keep pedaling and you'll hit the City of Arts and Sciences, a cluster of white, swooping architecture that looks like someone spilled a box of spaceship prototypes and decided to leave them there. The Opera House looks like a stormtrooper helmet. The aquarium could double as a Bond villain lair. And then you have the museums. If you want to get a feel for Valencia's weird flex between tradition and futurism, hit up the González Martí National Museum of Ceramics. It sounds dusty, but it's basically an explosion of everything humans have done with clay over the centuries, from ancient Greek wine jugs to Picasso plates. Plus, the building itself is like Baroque on steroids. Every inch of the Palacio del Marqués de Dos Aguas screams, "We have too much money, let's carve more cherubs." Walk through it, and you realize Valencians have always loved a little extra sparkle. On the other end of the spectrum is the IVAM, the Institut Valencià d'Art Modern. This place has that clean, edgy vibe where you don't know if you should stroke your chin thoughtfully or just admit you don't fully understand what you're looking at. And right nearby is the Centro del Carme de Cultura Contemporánea, which is the opposite of intimidating. It's inside an old convent, it has courtyards, and the exhibits feel playful and approachable. Families bring their kids, DJs play shows. It's basically where the city's creativity feels like it's breathing. And if you're hunting for something brand new, the Centro de Arte Hortensia Herrero is the hottest ticket, a 17th century palace stuffed with gigantic modern works by artists like Olafur Eliasson and David Hockney. The kind of place where stained glass installations literally glow like they've been dipped in Valencia's sunlight. Okay, but let's talk about the real anchor of any trip, the food. Because Valencia will ruin you from mediocre meals forever. Yes, paella is the obvious crown jewel, and yes, you should do it properly. Casa Carmela out by the beach makes paella valenciana the old-school way. Over wood fire with rabbit, chicken, snails, and seasonal veggies. It's a meal so serious you have to pre-order it when you book your table, and when it arrives, the pan looks like a sacred artifact. If that's too classic for you, head to Cabañal, the fisherman's village where tradition and reinvention hang out together. Casa Montaña has been pouring vermouth and serving seafood since the 1830s, while newer spots like La Sastreria are putting funky tiles on the walls and still revering the sea. But Valencia doesn't just live on paella. Mornings deserve proper coffee, and Bluebell has you covered. They roast their own beans in-house, and if you're feeling adventurous, try the espresso tonic. It sounds wrong, but it tastes like sunshine in liquid form. Breakfast there is equally wild. Pulled pork on waffles, vegan chia puddings, pancakes with praline. The vibe is, let's wake up but make it fun. For something global but grounded, Ducala serves Moroccan dishes that feel both comforting and elevated. Their bastela, chicken and almond pie dusted with cinnamon, might make you cry a little in a good way. And yes, Valencians have their sweet side too. You have to try horchata here, it's not optional. Daniel does it the traditional way. Thick, creamy, cold, with fartins to dunk. If you want the organic alternative spin, Suc de Luna is your jam. Bonus, you're drinking it inside Mercado de Colón, which is basically the cathedral of food courts. And then there's ice cream. Heladeria Veneti serves flavors that sound like inside jokes. Violet, Tehran, grandmother's cookies. I tried that last one, and it's basically nostalgia in a cone. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you've got Dentro Natural Wine Bar, which is like a temple for people who take natural wine very seriously. The kind of place where you'll overhear debates about tannins, but still feel welcome to just sip something funky and delicious. Nightlife? Valencia does it with range. Start casual at Splendini, the record store/bar that feels like a house party someone forgot to end. Then, level up at Maison Lupin, a cocktail bar where drinks come in duck-shaped glasses or ceramic vessels so pretty you'll consider accidentally stealing one. Their Agua de Valencia, a citrusy, boozy local specialty, is strong enough to erase your jet lag and your dignity in one go. If you want a grand finale, Atenea Sky has you covered. Rooftop, panoramic plaza views, and that whole "is this my life right now?" energy. And when you're finally ready to crash, Valencia delivers on style. Only You Hotel sits in the center but feels like a sleek little bubble with a top-floor restaurant that overlooks the chaos without forcing you into it. If you're more into cozy, Yours Hotel in Ruzafa is the move. Minimalist, small patio, plunge pool, the whole boutique but not pretentious aesthetic. Or for something playful, Casa Clarita, with interiors by Jaime Hayon, feels like you're staying inside a design magazine. What ties all of this together is that Valencia doesn't just show you things, it makes you feel like you're part of something ongoing. Like you're not just visiting, you're adding your own little thread to the tapestry. Whether that's sipping horchata in a 200-year-old cafe, or stumbling into an art opening in a former convent, or pedaling through Turia Garden at golden hour while the city's futuristic skyline glows behind you. So if you're ready to see a city that balances old-world extravagance with new-world creativity, where paella is religion and horchata is gospel, Valencia is waiting. And trust me, once you go, you'll start scheming your return before your plane even takes off. If you made it this far, thank you. Hit that like button, subscribe for more adventures like this, and don't forget to check the description where I've listed every single spot I mentioned. Save the ones that speak to you, build your own trip around them, and when you're in Valencia, let the city do the rest.